Hugely important, sensitive to change, which is, I'm going to show you some data in a few minutes and how precise they can be. Now, I'm the classroom teacher, and I've differentiated instruction. I gave it my best shot, and it just isn't happening. I go to my team, and I find out that they said, well, we have someone who can work with Elwood for 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and we'll see what we can do. So we start our progress monitoring, and because these instruments are so sensitive to change, within a week or two, we should see change in the scores. And if time goes by and we're not seeing that change, then we need to do what? We got to do something different. We don't know what that is. The team has to come together and look at the data and say, what do we think we need to do differently? But something different has to happen. Gone are the days where we sit down and we provide this instructional strategy for 10 weeks and then check the data and say, oops, nothing happened. That's 10 wasted weeks. So what we're doing is we're checking it on these intensive services weekly. It only takes 1 minute, and then to see if we're getting a change in the data. This is last year's chart. I didn't put this year's chart in, but this this represents the performance of kids last year on these measurements. So this number here represents the number of kids, 84,000 kids. You think that's an adequate norm sample? That's huge. That's huge. Your kid is in this sample. When a norm sample, that norm sample this year is now up to 120,000 kids. And so what they do is everyone who subscribes to AimsWeb, your data goes into the norm sample. So what this tells me by using this chart, right here represents percentiles. So at the 50th percentile, if I go across, and I look right there, that ROI means rate of improvement. So that means that of those 84,000 kids, every week they increased 1.1 words and the number they could read correctly in 1 minute. How is that helpful to know? Well, if I've been at this intervention for 4 weeks, right? Would I minimally expect? Now we've got to remember, you're getting instruction from your highly qualified teacher who's providing research-based literacy instruction. Then you're coming to see me, and I'm providing 20 minutes of additional support. Should I expect to at least see average growth over those 4 weeks, which would be 4.4 words? Yeah. In fact, I would hope to see more growth because you're getting more services. If I come back in 4 weeks and I've only grown by 1 word, am I happy with that? No. I've got to do something different. We're not getting robust growth here. We've got to do something a little different. So that's what I mean by the whole notion that it's very sensitive. We can figure out if, in fact, we're on target to getting the growth that we would like. Here's a $64,000 question. Should I be happy? Remember, now, here's a hint. Remember that graph we saw where it saw the average kids were here, and then my kids were getting intensive services were also here? If I'm getting 1.1 words per week growth with my new intervention, should I be happy? This is not a trick question, but it's think. The answer is hell no. Okay? Because we're staying level. If every other kid is gaining by 1.1 week, at the end of the year, you're going to be still below everybody else. So we're going to talk about that a little later today. How do we deal with that in a systematic and efficient way?